go down with, on the website, and they had to leave early. Yes. I heard the music. And the meeting is
A
canceled.
little hungry. I was looking at us like there's supposed to be something going on. We came to watch them.
Randy, you learned to whisper in a sawmill.
It's time. Boy, come we're not starting.
You're not in the video. Is it 6 o'clock on Monday?
6:01. And
Yep.
do we wait?
We're waiting for the music.
Movies?
Music.
On music.
There it goes.
There it is.
So we got one.
Got all this technology and I just couldn't get in the house. I don't even know how to turn them on and off. I know one thing, we have to buy less play targets.
Good evening. I'd like to call this special meeting of the Show Low City Council to order. By roll call, see that all council members are present. I would like to welcome you tonight, those that are here within the audience, as well as those who may be watching tomorrow night on City 56. I guess I shouldn't say that. They'll think this is a live broadcast.
It's
still,
both.
huh? But it will be being, shown tonight, but we're taping it for tomorrow night, the regular time. I'd like to begin by an invocation. I've asked Councilmember Kelly if he'd lead us in a invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilmember Crittenden. Those who'd like to join with us, please stand.
Father in heaven, dear Lord, I thank you for the very privilege we have of living on this beautiful mountain. I thank you for the opportunity this council has to serve, and ask that you will bless us with wisdom to serve in the best way possible for the citizens of Show Low. And ask again that you be with our first responders, our service personnel home and abroad. Bless them, bring them back to us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice
for all.
Thank you. Councilmember Kelly and Councilmember Crittenden. Next item is call to the public. Any citizen desiring to speak on a matter that is not on the schedule of agenda may do so at this time. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. See nobody moved, I'll close call to the public and come back to special events. We have a presentation by a representative of the U.S. Census Bureau. It's time.
I'm a mover when I talk. My name is Kimberly Robinson. I'm a partnership specialist with the United States Census Bureau. And what that means is that I go around before the census kicks off in April 2020, and I make partnerships with different city councils, small businesses, volunteers, and anyone else that wants to ensure a complete count for the census in 2020. It comes every 10 years, and data equals dollars. For the small town of Show Low, for the 2010 census, our data showed that there was a non-response rate of about 25 to 30%. So that means that 3 out of 10 people did not respond to the census, and that means money that did not go into your beautiful mountain town. And what I'm looking for today is just to plant a seed for the census. There are address canvassers going out now. They began mid-August. And what they do is that they verify addresses for high growth areas in rural areas. So you might see some census workers in your neighborhood right now with census bags, with phones and other things like badges. and they're going around just looking at homes and making sure that the addresses match up to your GIS data. The census, you will start seeing forms on March 12th, 2020. The official census kickoff date is April 1st, 2020. For the first time ever, you can respond to the census online and on telephone, as well as a paper form. Keep in mind that if your primary address is a P.O. box, the census forms do not go to P.O. box. They will be hand delivered, and you will have census takers knocking on doors. So please be nice to us. All right. This initial this initial introduction is just to make sure that y'all know that the census is coming. Please respond to it. Encourage your constituents to respond to it because, like I said, it does equal money. It equals money for your emergency systems. It equals, the Forest Service looks at these, it trickles down, it's $657 billion coming down from the federal government. Census data is delivered to the White House on 12/31/2020. And we start looking at redistricting. We start looking at representatives in House and Senate. And it means a lot to your community. It will touch each and every one of you. Right? Any questions?
Is there, I know a lot of times, sometimes there's opportunities where you need help or jobs. Can you share any of that information?
Absolutely. We are hiring right now. The census is constantly hiring, and we need people that are of the community. I am in your community constantly because I'm the partnership specialist from Northern Arizona. However, I'm not of the community. So we're always looking for people of the community, and they can apply for jobs at www.census.gov/jobs. And you can also get one of these frequently asked questions that are outside the library right now. So the forms about jobs, they're outside the library in the free information section. Please do. We're looking for administrative staff. We're looking for census takers. We're still looking for address enumerators. These are part-time, flexible, temporary jobs. And a lot of people that did the 2010 census, they do choose to come back. No
Some of the
experience
reasons
required.
why people are not filling out a census, that low of a participation, those people, what are some of the main concerns that people have why they don't?
A lot of the concerns is distrust of the government. That seems to be our big one right now. All the data from the U.S. Census is protected, constitutionally protected by federal law. It's statistical in nature. We don't match names to your census data at all. It's protected for 72 years. And so the census information that comes out in 2020 is protected until 2092. All census workers take an oath first thing as soon as they're hired. When they walk in the door for training, first thing I did was stand up and take an oath that I will protect all this information for life. So distrust of the government is another one, is our primary one. Also, we always have undercounted populations. Those are children 0 to 5, always an undercounted population. We have non-English speakers that tend to be undercounted, and rural areas also tend to be undercounted.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Appreciate what you're doing. Get
Thank
to
you.
see you more often. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much to Ed, Justin, and Tamara for encouraging and arranging this for me. I will be back in March. Y'all will get tired of seeing me, but I want to make sure that Show Low gets all the money that y'all have earned for the census. Thank you so much.
Time will turn the time to Justin Tregaskis, who'd like to share what the city of Show Low is currently doing.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Especially appreciate Kimberly coming and doing a special presentation. She's based out of Flagstaff, so this is a special trip for her. So we appreciate her coming and doing that. The census is important to the city of Show Low. It's important for a number of reasons, one of which Kimberly's already talked about, funding. A lot of the funding that we get from the state and federal levels is based on our population. When people say things like, why doesn't the city have more of different amenities? This is a way that people can participate to help get the funding so that we can have those amenities. Things like pickleball courts, things like the library, things like the pool, things like fixing potholes. All of that comes because of funding that comes through the census, which is based on our population. Things that we have done to help encourage people to participate in the census. This will be my second census that I've helped coordinate for the city. 10 years ago, we did something kind of fun where we did a Guess the Census contest. And that was open to anybody who was a resident of Show Low. Essentially, all you needed to do was fill out a form saying how many people did you think the census was going to say would be in Show Low. And as a result, the top 3 closest guessers received a gift card to one of our local restaurants here. We anticipate doing that again this time. We thought that was kind of a fun way to encourage the census. Some other things that we'll be doing is Kimberly mentioned that this will be available to complete online. There are people that don't have access to either the internet or reliable internet. And so we anticipate that we'll be setting up some kiosks here at the library as well as at City Hall, dedicated computer kiosks to allow people to come in when they're paying their water bill, when they're checking out a book, they can participate in the census as well. We also, Kimberly mentioned our non-response rate from 10 years ago, and that is something that we are concerned about. Obviously, every non-response ends up with a cost here to the city, whether it's in representation on a congressional level or funding. And so we do like to have as many people participate as possible. One thing that we feel contributed to that non-response rate is the timing of the census. Census takes place in March and April when a lot of our summer residents are not here. And so when you go knock on the door of somebody who's at their other home, they're not counted here. And so we get with the local homeowners associations, HOAs, particularly for Torreon, Sierra Pines, Hacienda Pines, those different subdivisions. And we ask them to send out in their newsletters to their residents just a notice that, if you have 2 homes, you can choose which one you can be a resident of, and inviting them to participate in the Show Low census as a resident of Show Low. We also will send out letters individually to those property owners that we identify as potentially seasonal. And then we coordinate with some local community groups such as the Chamber of Commerce and different groups like that. So we really try to get the word out. We've actually been working on the census for a little over a year now, behind the scenes work, making sure addresses are updated, making sure that the census has the addresses for new homes that have been constructed in the last 10 years. And as anybody who's driven around Show Low will recognize, we have a few of those, particularly just in the last couple of years. We've had some pretty substantial growth. So those are some steps that we have taken and some steps that we anticipate taking moving forward to help encourage people to take part in the census. It is congressionally mandated, not congressionally, constitutionally mandated that we hold the census every 10 years. And we'd like to be as accurate as possible. Mayor, with that, any questions?
I appreciate it. Thank you. Comments or questions? All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next item, we have a consent calendar. Is there any items that need to be pulled or discussed separately? We'll go through those items then. It's a consideration of Resolution R 2019-28, approving intergovernmental agreement with Navajo County and accepting Edward G. Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Funds. We have a consideration of approval of a Federal Aviation Administration Airports Improvement Program grant agreement for the South Apron Rehabilitation Project design. We have consideration of acceptance of grant funds for Library Lead with Digital Skills grant and authorization of the associated budget transfers. We have a consideration of acceptance of the 2019 rehabilitation and rejuvenation of the public roadway slurry seal. And we have a consideration of Resolution R 2019-27, authorizing submitting application for Arizona State Parks and Trails grant signature and approval of the project sponsor agreement for construction of Americans with Disabilities Act Trail on the Show Low Creek at the Meadow, and then the regular minutes of the Show Low City Council, August 6, 2019. Any comments or questions on there? Look for a motion. We have a motion by Councilmember Crittenden. Any other discussion or second? Second by Councilwoman Kukawas. Call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. Next item is consideration of agreement with Schneider Electric to perform guaranteed energy conservation measures and adoption of resolution R 2019-26, approving the lease purchase agreement and other financing agreements with Zions Bank Corp. And also declaring an emergency by the council. Mr. Cup.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This one has some tongue twisters in it, so bear with me here. I'll try to get through it for you. The City of Show Low strives to find ways to address unfunded infrastructure needs, modernize city infrastructure, and maximize energy and operational savings. At its October 2nd, 2018 meeting, the council approved an agreement with Schneider Electric to perform an investment grade audit, IGA. The scope of this audit included inventorying and studying potential energy savings upgrade to provide the city with a turnkey energy conservation and modernization solution that can be paid through energy and operational cost savings. Schneider has presented staff with a plan to perform a self-funding energy savings project. This project includes implementing a building automation system to monitor and control mechanical systems in city facilities and an LED lighting upgrade for the exterior and interior of city buildings. The building automation system software will be purchased from a licensed vendor, and the equipment will be installed and configured by Schneider Electric. Schneider Electric is guaranteeing their projected savings over 15 years. Based on the information presented in the IGA, the energy savings over 15 years is $943,021. Schneider also estimates that operations and maintenance savings of $633,957 over the same time period. The project cost is $712,575. Staff proposes the city finance the project through a competitive loan offered through Zions Bank Corporation. The interest rate will be 3.02% over 15 years. The financing is done through a lease purchase agreement with Zions Bank Corporation by resolution, which also approves other financing agreements, including the escrow and account control agreement and the memorandum of understanding with Zions Bank Corporation and Schneider Electric. Staff recommends approving the agreement with Schneider Electric to perform guaranteed energy conservation measures in an amount not to exceed $712,575, approving the resolution, authorizing the lease purchase agreement with Zions Bank Corporation and other financing agreements with Zions Bank Corporation. And I'd be happy to answer questions. We also have our city attorney and our deputy city manager and city manager already. And we also have a representative from Schneider Electric and Zions Bank Corp.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, council? Mr. Mayor?
I have quite a few questions. So I need, this could probably be a little bit for me. I just want to make sure we're kicking out $700,000 for hopefully getting a savings of 1.5 million. Am I correct or am I wrong on that one there? Because if you add that stuff up after 15 years, that's what we should get?
Yes, that's correct. The energy savings of $943,021 and the O&M savings of $603,957.
And then the interest rate is going to be at 3.2% of how much money are we going to have to kick out for that 15 years?
If you look at the one of the attachments, it's titled Sample Project Cash Flow.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that, I believe that the estimated payment is $59,776 per year.
My one question is, it's going to take us 15 years to get this 1.5 million or projected 900,000 and 600,000. Everything I've been looking at for big investors, everything else, they look at a rate of return, hopefully within 5 to 7 years. But yet we're putting up this amount a month, $700,000 to try to get it in 15 years. Nobody here on this council is going to be here in 15 years, probably not. But, to see if we can get that rate of return. are we 100% guaranteed that we're going to get this rate of return?
That is guaranteed savings. We did a similar project, 11 years ago, with the guaranteed savings. I think they actually ended up, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they ended up writing us a check one year to reimburse us because they didn't meet that projection. So, is that correct?
I don't remember if they wrote us a check, but and Mr. Johnson can answer that a little better, but because he checked it today, but we did exceed the guaranteed savings that they projected.
Was that the Joe Papa thing?
Amoresco.
That was Amoresco in 2012. We did a study, or Kerry Bill, we did put the numbers together for 5 years. We'd save a little over $400,000. So it was enough to make the loan payment.
And that was over how many years?
5 years.
5 years.
Mhm.
You know, I can see us trying to get our money back in a 5-year or 7-year thing, but this is like a 15-year. That's a long time to try to put that much money out to wait for a return on that. I'm just trying to question that.
Vice Mayor, the actual payback is between 11 and 12 years. So, is that correct?
For just the electrical savings,
Right.
electricity savings.
What was the amount of the project? What was the amount of the original project?
700
Amoresco.
Oh, that one, I'm not sure. There were like 3 parts to that one. I don't remember the dollar amount.
We added projects to that, like lighting, senior field and Ponderosa field and Little League field. No, not the Little League, it was senior and Ponderosa. We added that lighting and I believe Frontier Field also. So that was an added project, so it affected the cost, but the cost savings were based on the IGA or the audit they did at the time.
I guess what I'm saying, getting at is if we're looking at 712,000 over 15 years, was the scope of the other project much less that, we would have received a return in a quicker fashion?
I think the 15-year thing, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, comes because of a state statute that requires these to be paid back within a 15-year time frame. And we looked at it and we said we didn't want to include the M&O savings in that payback, although you can. We wanted to see the electricity savings to be within the 15 years. And they make it in, it may be 12, 13 years, somewhere in that time
It was
frame.
between 11 and 12.
Yeah, Councilmember Leach.
I got a question for one of you guys, if you don't mind. I know you gave the presentation, I think most of the time that we were here. So and correct me if I'm wrong, I think we were going to get an update on our savings yearly. Is that correct?
So that's what I talked against. Typically, I think the standard approach is it's all right from, let's say we're fortunate enough to move forward today, a year after construction, then here's your update, here's what you save, which we do an in-depth look a year later, but we give you guys the capability to be able to see a monthly, weekly, even daily update on here's exactly what you're saving from day to day to make sure that it's really easy for me to come back in a year and say, yep, you saved what we said we're going to save. But this, we're setting this up where you can go in there and see that on a whenever you want basis.
Okay, so the follow-up to that was, because I know we talked about what the vice mayor's saying. So the follow-up to that, if our savings aren't meeting to these standards that you're saying, you're going to cut us a check
Yes, sir.
yearly after the 1 year. Okay, thank you. Well, not
Councilmember
you
Critton.
personally, but
Councilmember Crittenden.
One of the concerns I have is over this amount of length of time, there can be so much technology that can take place that what is taking place right now, as far as in theory saving us money, over that length of time, there can be some other type of technology that will be totally 100% different that it will cut this or triple the savings as this. So are we locked into this for the 15-year period? Or let's say for whatever reason, 10 years from now, there's some kind of technology that's going to save us 3 or 4 times as much. Do we have the capability of doing that, or are we locked into this?
I believe you always have the capability of relooking at it and do a new audit and try to figure out if you can save more money on your energy costs. And whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. But you always could go back and take a look at it.
And to chime in on that, the largest part of this is LED technology. We're looking at LED lights inside, outside, and if you look at lighting over time, over history, the efficiency of LED it's so efficient that if there's something that comes out that's even twice as efficient as LED, which I don't foresee that happening anytime, and there's plenty of studies that show that likely won't happen. Even if it's twice as efficient, the cost of said upgrade would never make financial sense anytime in my lifetime. So you're right, there absolutely could be some technological breakthrough that changes that and challenges that. But from everything I've seen, everything I've read, I don't anticipate any significant change in lighting technology beyond what we have for LED currently.
Vice Mayor.
Another question for you. If this goes over a 15-year period, does this take into account also the rate hikes that maybe APS or Napa-Apache is going to put in there, that you guys can compensate all that rate hike stuff within 15 years?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a fantastic point. $1 saved today, in theory, if you watch trends and they're trending up constantly, utility rates aren't going down anytime soon. $1 saved today, 15 years from now, is $2 or $3 based on the rates that we've seen. So an investment today, the $1 saved today, only gets larger as time goes on.
You've talked to the Corporation Commission to keep those rates lower then for everybody?
Yeah, if I've got an audience with them, they listen to me just as much as they do you.
Hopefully it's the last question. I read through this a little bit here, and if we have any change orders, then that could cost us considerable amount or a little amount. But yet then if we have any, or if something comes into effect where you guys can't do your job, then you can just terminate and leave it any time of that, or did I misread that?
Not that I think that's part of our payment and performance bond to be able to actually make the work happen. I don't think there's at least the way I understand it, there's no clause that allows us to just walk away. And as far as the change orders, that's something that I think the city will be very pleased working with Schneider Electric, that unless it's customer driven, there will not be change orders. Unless we get into this and we say, hey, we'd actually like to add this building or remove this building, there will not be any change orders from the price that we put together. That's why it's a turnkey price. And we're working with other cities now where we get in there and realize, oh, we forgot about this element or that element, and then that risk is on Schneider Electric to take care of that and not change order you to death.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions or comment?
Mayor, maybe one thing, if Justin could explain the financing, how we arrange that, because we know the council likes to prepay debt, and we've got an arrangement for that.
Mr. Johnson.
One thing I would address that the Vice Mayor talked about the potential for rate increases. If you look on the sample project cash flow, there's a savings escalation of 3%, and I think that's built in there to adjust for any
That's
future
3% yearly or
3% per year. Yep. As far as the financing goes, when we put it out for bid, we had quite a few bids, and there was the ultimate low bid, which was pretty restrictive on the prepayment and the paying off early. In our minds, the second place bidder, which would have been Zions, had a slightly higher rate, but they gave us more flexibility to prepay it and pay it off early. And then we were able to negotiate with them once this thing extended past the 60 days, and they matched the low rate. So we got the lowest rate possible, plus we can prepay with no penalty, and we can pay off early.
Any questions on that? Appreciate it. Thank you. See no other questions, I'll look for a motion. I'll make a motion. I move to approve the agreement with Schneider Electric to perform guaranteed energy conservation measures in an amount not to exceed $712,575 and approve associated budget transfers, and further move to adopt resolution number 2019-26, approving the lease purchase and other financing agreements with Zions Bank Corporation, and authorize the mayor to sign all documents declaring an emergency. I have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Kukovas. Any other discussion? Councilmember Kelly.
Just a question. I think I know the answer, but maybe the public would like to know too, why the need for the emergency?
Put to our city attorney.
Generally, when we do these types of financing agreements, it's usually done through emergency to lock in the interest rate, keep the interest rate as
Thank
low
you.
as we.
Any other comments or questions? Look for a call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Did that pass 6-1? Thank you.
I'd like to, Mayor, if that's all right, I'd like to voice my opinion why I voted no. I think a 15-year recovery for our taxpayers' money is a little bit too long, and that's the only reason I'm voting for it, voting against it. I just think we should try to have that recovered a lot faster than that. So.
Next item is consideration of agreement for sale of property with Ross and Georgia Adams Family Trust dated December 31st, 1997. Mr. Mood or Mr. Brown, which one do you want to take this?
I'll go ahead and take
Okay.
it. Recently, the city was approached by representatives of the Ross and Georgia Adams Family Trust who wanted to donate to the city a historical log cabin that is located on their property. This originally was built by the Penrod family, and the cabin was relocated to its current site in 1939 and was inhabited by the Adams family until 1951. The cabin is a good example of the early cabins that original settlers lived in when they moved to this area. Ross and Georgia Adams owned several businesses in the Shoal area, including the Downtown 9 Motel, Ross's Cafe, and the West End Gas Station. Many of their descendants still live in the area. Some of them are here tonight with us as well. Staff felt that the cabin could be moved to a location next to the historic jail on the City Hall property and could be a place for residents and visitors to visit and see what life was like for early residents of Show Low. Along with the cabin, the trust has agreed to donate early tools and some furniture and a wagon to enhance the cabin when it's completed. The agreement indicates that if the cabin and the tools and furniture and wagon are no longer needed, that the cabin will revert to the Adams Family Trust. In addition, if the cabin is ever moved, the trust would need to grant approval for the new location if the trust is still in existence. The cost to move the cabin was included in this year's budget. The request for proposals to select a company to move the cabin is currently being advertised, and the RFP is due on August 22nd. We've attached the agreement, and we're here for any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Councilmember Crittenden.
On the cabin, it sounds like a great idea. We do have the jail there, but what type of security have we come up with? A cabin's a little different than a jail, and a lot of things could happen to that very, very easily. Any kind of security that we've come up with?
I'll let Mr. Cutt maybe address a little bit of that, but obviously we try to secure it the best we could with having a door on it. We maybe anticipate having a door where people look through a window, not necessarily go in the cabin. And then we probably put up some security cameras, and then Bill, you can address whatever else you feel like there.
Yeah, I think the plan is to get some security cameras installed, and also we wouldn't allow public access into the building, so we can make sure that that door is well secured. We feel that if we have some things on display that are visible from the windows, then that should be adequate to satisfy the curiosity of the public. In the case of vandalism, hopefully, I think we've had good success at some of our city parks with our security cameras, and we think that that will help us there too. It's actually in a pretty high traffic area. It's well lighted, so it is a fairly secure location. It's not as stout as the jail, but we'll do our best to protect it. There are also the wagon and the tools. I think right now some of the tools are actually mounted on the exterior of the cabin. That's something that we're probably going to look into. We just need to make sure that when we mount that, if we do that, that there's no way you can take bolts out or anything like that. So does that answer your question or help?
I don't know, ask Randy.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot where it came from.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Vice Mayor?
If we don't have anything else, I'll make a motion.
Before you do, I just want to thank the Adams family. This is a great contribution to our city, and I think it will be something that will enhance. And we just want to thank you for your mother and father, Ross and Georgia, for what they did, and that you guys are trying to preserve some of their history, and most of all, some of the history of Show Low. And thank you for working this out so that we can possibly make this enhance in the community. Appreciate it.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Mayor.
I move to approve the agreement of sale of property with the Ross and George Adams Family Trust dated December 31st, 1997.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Any other discussion? Councilmember Crittenden.
I also would like to thank the family for their contributions. This is a great contribution to the city, and we will do whatever we can to represent your family with this cabin and continue it over the years. So thank you very, very much. Okay.
Councilmember Kelly.
I was just also going to just say a thank you and wanting to make sure you don't feel like you've overcharged the city, charging us $1 for this. You'll be able to sleep tonight with a clear conscience, right? Okay.
Seeing no other comments, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Did that pass 7-0? Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is item 8C, consideration of award of construction contract for Sierra Vista subdivision roadway construction, City of Show Low, project number R0220. Mr. Himmelsaw.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. City's fiscal year 2020 capital improvement program budget includes $535,000 for a roadway improvement project labeled Sierra Vista subdivision. Scope of the work includes pulverizing the existing aging asphalt, incorporating the pulverized material into the roadway base, and installing a new 3-inch asphalt overlay on the entire Sierra Vista subdivision. The water and sewer replacement for the subdivision were completed over the past year. The proposed improvements are located along West Reedhead, West Stock, West Stratton, and South 7th, 6th, and 5th Avenues. The project was designed by city engineering staff with a construction estimate of $398,000. Project was publicly bid in accordance with statutory requirements with the following results. PAP LLC at $363,395. Sunland Asphalt at $377,370. Hatch Construction and Paving at $396,365. Surface Contracting at $432,297.50. And Western Grade at $520,872.50. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Sierra Vista subdivision roadway reconstruction, City of Show Low project R0220 to PAP LLC, an amount not to exceed that $363,395. The bid tabulation for the work is attached, and I'm available for questions.
Any questions, comments? Councilmember Kelly.
Yeah, I'm just curious. For some of us, time flies, and it seems like that subdivision was just put in. How many years ago has that been? Do you have it of record?
You know, I believe the final plat, and I'm going to go kind of take a guess, but I think it was in like 61 or 64, something like that.
So have those roads lasted a reasonable period of time?
They've lasted pretty good. They've definitely had some work in there.
Now, we did have to do some work right away, I remember.
Yeah.
But since then, they've lasted pretty good. Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
You still call them roads.
Yeah. They've gotten beat up over construction aspects.
Vice Mayor.
Not cart paths anymore, huh? I'm just grateful that we're finishing this up. I know the people who live in that neighborhood really probably are liking to have this thing all done. So the finished product should look really nice, and they should enjoy it for hopefully another 40, 50 years, like Councilman Kelly said. So thank you.
Yeah, one more project for them, and then we're out of their hair. They're looking forward to it, I think.
Share with us your knowledge of PAP Construction, because I don't think we've used them before.
We have not used them. We first met them at the pre-construction or pre-bid meeting, I'm sorry. And after we opened bids, we kind of had to sit down and just to get to know their company and who they are. They're a paving contractor out of Bayfield, Colorado, which is just outside Durango, Colorado. They've done some work up on the reservations, Kayenta, I believe, and some other towns and counties in Colorado. They have an Arizona contractor's license required to do the work. They're excited to come to Show Low and show what they can do, and we're looking forward to working with them.
Okay, no other discussion. I'll look for a motion. Councilmember Leach.
I move to award the construction contract for the Sierra Vista subdivision roadway reconstruction, City of Show project number R0220 to PAP Construction LLC in the amount not to exceed $363,395 and remind them of that.
Thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Hatch. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? That passed 7-0. Thank you.
You'll get mad.
Next item we have on the agenda is summary of current events. I'd like the council members for current events. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind everybody about the Sholo Battle of the Bands and Vans. It's the 31st of this month. It's at Frontier Park, and that's over on 660 North 9th Place in downtown Sholo. Admission is $5 for people older than 12, and everybody else is free. It starts at noon, and it goes until 10 o'clock that night, but there's going to be a bunch of bands and a bunch of food bands, and they're going to have a great time and prizes and outdoor games and stuff. So if you're interested, show up on Saturday on the 31st and 12 to 10 and have a great time. Also, just something about Main Street. If you drove down Noosa Clubs today at 9th here, you'll see some construction starting. Project for Main Street is to build a wall there and do some furnishings and stuff. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, you will see some really neat things happening down there and upgrade that little corner there. That's it for me, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Any other report, comments? I just want to take a moment and express our condolences to the Ronnie Lupi family. Chairman Lupi served for many years and gave a great service to the Apache Nation. And we just want to thank our neighbors and thank the family for what they did. Also want to thank Councilmember Crittenden for going down and representing the city at the funeral services and things for it. Thank you, Rennie. Turn the time to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items to report. This is a reminder that this Wednesday, August 21st, is the latest recommended day to mail back a voted early ballot to the county for the jail district special election. If you miss a mailing deadline, you can turn in that early ballot on election day at the polling place. That's Tuesday, August 27th. And if you didn't choose to receive an early ballot, you can vote. You'll vote at the City Campus Gymnasium at 620 East McNeil between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. on August 27th. Pinetop Lakeside, Navajo County, and the City of Show are sponsoring a free region-wide residential electronic waste and used tires collection event on Saturday, August 24th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Navajo County Penrod facility in Show. That's where you can drop off unwanted computer equipment, accessories, small appliances, electronic equipment, and used tires without items for free. The one exception is a CTR style TV or computer monitor. You may drop off one of those of either item for free, but anything more is $20 each. Waste from commercial businesses is not accepted at the event, but you can schedule a commercial drop-off on Friday, August 23rd by calling 602-944-4151 by Friday, August 16th. If you want more information on this electronic waste event, you can call 532-4124. This is something interesting. The city Sholo TV staff created a new Welcome to Sholo video that has received over 9,300 views and 251 shares on the city's Facebook page. They also created a video regarding Sholo's historic jail, which is across the street, which has received over 5,500 views on Facebook. If you haven't seen the videos, take a few minutes and watch them either on the city's Facebook page or on Sholo TV's YouTube channel. And finally, work on a stretch of US 60 from Sholo Airport to 1 mile west of US 60-61 Junction began last Monday and will continue for about 3 more weeks through September 12th. The work will take place from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and it'll be narrowed to 1 lane, so allow extra time for travel in that area. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments of council? Okay, look at scheduling of meetings. Any meetings need to be discussed or scheduled? Okay. This time we need to move into executive session. Items we have in executive session is discussion of legal advice, attorneys pursuant to a Little Colorado water adjudication, and also purchase sale of real property, AP number 210-18-05B, and then the executive minutes of August 6, 2019.
I'll move.
We have a motion to move by Councilmember Leach, seconded by Councilmember Hatch. All those in favor? Any opposed? See that pass 7-0. This time we'll move into executive session. Thank you.